What's going on, you guys? Your boy Jay the Informant back here with another video. So I had to make a video about this FDMG school that Umar has been building for the last 10 years. Well, he's been collecting money for the last 10 years, but he's been building the school for the last 5 years. Now, what's happening with the school and what is the current state of the school? Umar has primarily gotten his funding from the black community, from those abroad, and from those from the United States. But yet, when the black community asks questions about the school, there's a huge lack of transparency. He says that he's transparent, but who is he transparent with? The lack of transparency when it comes to the finances, when it comes to progression of the school, when it comes to who's helping him build the school, is in all over the place, and no one knows. Yet I'm going to tell you why the school isn't complete and how Umar is actually to blame for this, not the black community, not you, not me, just Umar. Now let's watch this video, and in this video you're going to see Umar try to distance himself from the responsibility of why FDMG is not complete, yet it is his fault. And I'm actually going to lay out a case of why this school should be built by now and where he could have got the funding from. So let's get into the video and let's check this out.
Why is it taking so long to open this school? Like people feel like, and I'm not just going to say people found, because I'm also going to share a story with you as well.
Yes,
but people feel like, you know, the time that 6 years is just a very long time to be raising money. You know what I mean?
And it's actually been longer than 6 years he's been raising this money.
And to finally get the buildings that you ended up getting that are in disrepair and all of that. And I think it's the transparency that people are looking for. A lot of people are looking for you to be more transparent, and when they don't see this transparency, it makes them feel, you know, skeptical.
Okay. Let me speak to some of that.
Yes, please.
Okay. Number one, I'm transparent with my donors. I'm transparent.
Now, I'm being told that there, you know, people say when your actual donors will ask certain things, they said you will sometimes block them and all this type of stuff.
That is not true. Those are not donors. Those are haters. My donors have direct access to me. I talk to them. I know who they are. Most of them are repeat donors. My donors range everywhere from black professionals. I have lawyers, I have engineers, I have business owners, all the way down to the retired great-grandma who's sending me $10 a month because she want to see this plan come to fruition. Haters don't donate, donors don't hate. So my accountability is only to those who donate.
Now, that's actually a little great phrase that he put, haters don't donate and donors don't hate. But my question would be to him, how have you been collecting money for damn near 10 years and you can keep accountability to everybody that donated to you? So some of those donors might have turned into haters after they found out that you were ultimately scamming them. I mean, it's been almost 10 years, still no school. So maybe they turned from donors to haters, but at the end of the day, they still donated to you, so they're still donors.
I want to be very clear about that. It's only to those who donate. So people who ask random questions, they'll never get answers because you don't support this. Now, with that being said, let me also say this. The other question that you ask, which is often asked, is 6 years, he don't have the school yet. I'm not to blame for that. The community is to blame for that. I cannot manifest the school out of thin air. Schools cost money. They're not houses. They're commercial property. But because we're not used to building things exclusively with black dollars, we don't understand how long it takes to get that done. I'm not a charter school. I'm not a public school. My school isn't going to subsist on white handouts and government funding. My school is grassroots Pan-African Academy. So it'll take as long as it takes until we raise the money to achieve the goal. It is that simple. Why the school ain't up yet? Because we're not raising enough money. But guess who don't have to ask those questions? The owner of Quaker Grits, because Negroes give them $11 million a year. Guess who don't have to ask that question? Nike and Air Jordan, because Negroes give them $4 billion, $2 billion a year. Malt liquor, $4 billion a year. weave, perm, and beauty products, $30 billion a year. Fast food, $1 billion a year.
Now, while he's pocket watching all these companies, why don't he start one of these companies? Because it's obvious he's not going to start a school up. So how about you start up a beauty supply or a fast food joint or something like that? You got enough money.
They don't have to ask the Europeans and the Jews and the Chinese and the Arabs. They don't have to ask how long it's going to take them to get that Negro money. We give it freely. But when one of our own steps up with the track record, the experience, the credentials, and the resume to do something like build a school to save Black boys with the hell that Black boys are catching in this country, we don't support him because, number one, we don't want him to get the credit. Number two, we don't want the responsibility of doing for self.
Okay, so let me stop right there. First of all, he don't have the resume, he don't have the credentials, and he don't have the skills to build a school. He's never had that in his past, and he still don't have it to this day. Second of all, everybody wanted him to get the credit. The fact of the matter is, everybody wanted Umar to succeed at the beginning of this, but it's been almost 10 years. Now people are finding out quickly that he's a scammer, and that's all there is to it. Now, everybody still is on his side. I just think that people shouldn't be giving him no money anymore.
And number three, you understand, we want to find an excuse to keep on depending on white folks. So that's really the answer to that. But I want to answer your other piece. You said, what you do with the leftover money? When you open up the interview tonight, I dropped the donation information. I said, get on your Cash App, $ FDMG School. I said, get on your PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. I said, mail in your checks or money orders, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. I also said, if you remember, I said, we are running short on the repair money. We don't have it all. We have most of it, but we don't have it all to cover the repairs of the Garvey building.
He don't know how much money they have, and he don't know how much money they need. He's lying. He could have actually gave a quote right now in this interview if he actually knew those figures.
So to me, it is a very common sense question, something that I don't even think needs to be asked. For somebody to say, what are you doing with the leftover money? We're paying for security so people don't vandalize the property like they've already done. You understand? We have to pay for repairs. We have to pay taxes, upkeep.
He's not paying taxes. He's actually behind, I think, $160,000 in taxes. And on top of that, he does not have any security at these schools. He's lying about that too.
Things of that nature. That's what we're doing with the extra money. The electric system has to be repaired. The plumbing system has to be repaired. We just paid for the roofs to be repaired. The carpentry has to be redone. You understand? We have to do the fire alarm system, the sprinkler system. We have to pay for the building permits. There's a lot of expenses. We have to pay for the grass to be cut. That's not cheap.
So from what I heard, somebody's actually cutting the grass there for free. So he's not paying for that. So why did he even mention that?
We have to pay for the grounds to be monitored. There's a lot of cost that goes into maintaining 2 schools, not 1, 2. And for me, I'm happy because we were only looking to get 1 school, brother and sister. We ended up with 2. And to all those coons and trolls who say the buildings are trash, do you realize the 4 buildings we got are state-of-the-art modern schools? They are not old schools like the ones we went to. They are modern. That campus was renovated at a cost of $13 million in 2011, 9 years ago. And the only reason why we have to renovate is because the building was not secured by the previous owner, which allowed people to get in and do what? Strip the electrical system.
I was about to say, steal the copper.
The plumbing system. Strip the HVAC system. Whenever you and Rod Dig are ready, only you two and your other brother, Godfrey, y'all can drive on down and I will give you a tour. And when you walk through them schools, you tell me if those buildings is trash. First of all, the buildings are in excellent shape.
Now, he just said they just stripped the buildings and that they've had a bunch of damage done to them. And we all know that they had holes in the roof, so they linked inside of them. So how are they in excellent shape still? If he just admitted that they're in disrepair and they need a lot of electrical work, plumbing, and everything else, on top of that, having the holes in the roof, which caused a lot of leakage inside of the building, which caused a lot of mold, they're not in excellent shape. And if people went in there, rip the copper out and everything, that just further decrease the value of the building.
excellent shape. We just got an offer for one of the buildings over more than $1 million. That sound like trash to you?
Now, why didn't he take that $1 million? He has 4 buildings. He got an offer for one building for $1 million. Why not take that $1 million? You're obviously short on cash. These buildings are trash. And somebody offers you $1 million for one of the buildings, you would have still had 3 buildings on hand plus $1 million, plus the donations that you don't keep account of.
Okay, here's where I share a little story, brother.
Now, Lord Jameer goes into his father-in-law's story about how he built the school and everything, and Umar didn't want to have no business hearing it or anything. Now, Umar admitted that he could have got $1 million for one of the buildings, and he still would have had 3 buildings on hand. So he would have had the money on hand plus 3 buildings to build his school. So why didn't Umar take that offer? Now, I'm going to take his word for it and say that somebody actually did offer him that $1 million, even though I don't know if it's true. We haven't had any actual statements or any documents that says somebody offered him that. But Umar said it, so I'm just going to take his word for it. Just like I'm taking his word for that he's building this FDMG school. Now, to this day, Umar's word is getting a little bit salty. And I can't find any reason to continue to believe what he says. But let's just believe what he says. Now, why not take that $1 million and finish school? That makes a lot of sense. Any financial advisor would have told him, if he had financial advisors, if he had any accountants or anything, or if he had any advisors whatsoever, they would have told him, we need to take this offer of $1 million and just renovate these other 3 buildings and build this school and get it up. That way we can start producing the results that we want. And on top of that, we would have started producing revenue coming into the building, because if the buildings are just sitting there, you're not producing any revenues. Now, he said he was going to take, I think, school funding from the parents are going to pay school funding for their kids to go to that school. Now, how are they going to pay? How are you taking in revenue from the school if the schools aren't even open? So it's obvious that he don't have anybody in his corner giving him this type of advice. But yet he says that he has all these experts in his corner. Now, any expert in business administration, finance, accounting, or even just a regular banker would have just told you, hey, man, you need to take this offer of $1 million. I don't believe him when he said that he had an offer, but I'm going to take his word for it. So, and if somebody did offer him that $1 million, then it's your fault, Umar, that the schools aren't open. You would have had $1 million on hand. You would have had one less building to deal with and to renovate, but you didn't take the offer. All right, so that's my thoughts on it, man. Umar said he wants to complete the school, but when the opportunity presented itself, he didn't take the offer. So I guess we're going to see if he gets his building done. Like he said, who else is building besides him?
Who else is building?
Jamar, don't discriminate.
Maybe
Listen.
somebody built an institution from the ground.